Yo YouTube! This is my video for Wednesday the 8th of October, and I've got quite a lot to tell you about. I'll start off with last Friday morning. My first pickup in the morning. An incident happened. So, as I was loading up two pallets, one on my side door, one on my back door, I was in the van just sorting out the straps, and as they came up to my side door with the first pallet, I was going to pop out of the van, and my feet got caught up in a loose strap, and I sort of fell out of my van, and I grabbed hold of a strap with my left hand to sort of try and stop myself falling, and I managed to reduce the speed of the fall, but I then sort of gracelessly fell onto the floor, but onto my feet. Because of my weight and even the small height, it was a bit jarring on my ankle. I then sort of collapsed slightly down onto my hands and knees. For most people that would have been just I'll get up and carry on. I'm at the age now where that sort of thing is quite detrimental to my joints, and I felt an immediate issue with my right ankle. It felt like I'd sprained it, but obviously this was not because I twisted it, just because I fell on it. So I sort of hobbled on with my day while I carried on, and I thought I would just rest it over the weekend, and that would be that. Unfortunately, come Sunday, I wasn't really feeling much better. I wasn't really feeling any worse, but it wasn't getting any better, and I really didn't feel that I could cope with getting in and out of my van with that on a Monday. So I decided quite late on Sunday that I'd have the Monday off to try and recover further. But I wasn't convinced it was going to even recover after one more day off work. So anyway, the short and long of it is I had 2 days off, Tuesday as well. And it wasn't until in the middle of last night that I felt, maybe it's actually a bit better now. Not perfectly better, but enough to cope with work. But by this point I had a job booked in. And the job I'd booked in was going from Lincoln to Wivenhall for an 8 o'clock pickup. And Lincoln's about 50 odd miles from where I live. It's about an hour and 5 minutes drive, usually. I've done it a few times, it's usually about that. And so I felt, okay, I can do that job. If I can't cope with one job, I'll just head home after that and call it a day. But I thought I needed to get back on the road to test my ankle out. So I put that job in and got myself on the road this morning. And that brings me to today. So today I had a mildly stressful journey up. So I left the house at 7:05, which is about 5 minutes later than I probably would have wanted done ideally. But it's only about an hour to get to Lincoln, maybe at most hour and 5 minutes. So at most I was going to be 8:10 arrival, I thought. I put the sat nav on and it was saying it was going to take an hour and 25 minutes, or hour and 20 minutes, putting me at sort of 8:25, which I thought was crazy. I looked at the map, I could not see at any point, other than right at the end in Lincoln itself, there being any delays. My whole route up to Lincoln, via Bourne, Sleaford, all the way up to Lincoln was perfectly clear. So I thought, I'm going to have to just get on with this and see what happens, because there must be another route around. I drove up as quickly as I could, and my journey was not delayed really at any point. I made up about 7 minutes because of the journey up there. But then by sort of 8 o'clock, when I was meant to be on site, it was still saying 20 more minutes to go. And I hadn't really stopped up to this point. I was about 5 miles away from the pickup. So I rang the shipper, just let them know, and hoped they'd understand, because it was the traffic that was the issue, and they were fine with that. So that put me at ease, so I carried on. I got to the pickup point at 18 minutes past 8. So it was a bit late, but I thought, oh yeah, and what I was thinking was, this is quite an early pickup, maybe it's an urgent delivery, and maybe that 15 minutes later is going to be a problem. So I was a bit stressed about every minute I wasn't getting there. I was a bit stressed about this because it was an engineering company. That's the thing. So engineering stuff can, I think, at times be emergency stuff, but at times it can be just whenever they feel like it. And on this occasion, it was the 2nd. So I arrived. I'd let them know I was there, and no one knew anything about what I was there for. There's about 5 or 6 people working. The first forklift driver, he had no idea, but he took it to somebody else who was a bit more senior than him. He had no idea, so he went off to an office to find out, and then I just waited, and then I waited and waited and waited, and I thought, after about 15 minutes of waiting, I thought, what's happening here? No one's come back to me. I've not been told anything about this. Have they forgotten about me? And what's going on? I kept checking. Am I at the right place? And I was. So I went back in and I asked someone to help. And again, eventually, it took a while. Eventually, someone came to me and said, "Oh, we're still making it. We'll make it the last bit, and then put it on the pallet for you. It'll be 5 minutes." So at this point, now that I had an answer, I went back to the shipper to let them know what was going on. Because I thought, I wanted to tell the shipper that I'm waiting, but I can't tell them anything other than I don't know what's going on. So until I find out more, I can't really, there's no point ringing them. So I rang them, told them what's going on, and then I was sort of reassured to myself. A couple of things. 1, I'll be off in 5 minutes. 2, it didn't really matter that I was 18 minutes late on site because they hadn't even made the items by that point. So all that kind of stress about it, I wasn't really stressed, but I was mildly anxious about being late. I don't like being late. But so anyway, it didn't make a difference at all in the end because they weren't ready, and they're basically making it still when I arrived. Right, so then about 5 minutes later, I got a pallet coming out, signed the paperwork, put it on, strapped it down, just checked I happened to check the address on the paperwork for the delivery because the name of the company was different to the name of the company I had. And on my CX, so the name of my CX was different to the name on the paperwork that was given, like the invoices to, and the delivery name. And then I checked the address, and the address on the paperwork to deliver to was York, and I was going to Wivenhall in sort of West Midlands. I thought there's no way I can just drive off now going to Wivenhall based off my CX thing when this says York. So I went back into the office and asked them, can someone check this because I haven't got the right note. A few minutes later they came back out and said, yeah, I'm going to the right place, ignore the address on the paperwork. I took the name of the person that told me that, and then I got loaded up. So in the end, I didn't get off site until just before 9 o'clock. But none of that delay was down to me arriving late. All down to the manufacturer not being ready and not being organised. And so I don't really think it's down to the shipper, to be honest. It's not really the shipper's fault that this happened. Anyway, so I'm on my way. The problem is now, problem? Is it a problem? The issue I have now is I've basically spent 45 minutes longer on site than I would have hoped. And then also, to sort of cap this off, the actual mileage is 106 miles. And I based this bid on 93 miles loaded. So it's a good 12 or 13 miles extra. But I really can't bring myself to have that conversation with the shipper. I just want to get this job over with and get on with the day. So I've got £90 for a small van job, and I'm on my way now, and I'm just be pleased to get this job over and done with. My ETA at the moment is 11:05. I'm expecting to be finished between 11:15 and 11:30 in Wivenhall, and then I get on with the rest of my day. I'm expecting Wivenhall to be really hard to get a job from. So today is more about me testing my my ankles out than earning a massive amount of money. This week has proved to be pretty poor compared to my expectations because of that injury I had on Friday. So it's not going to be anything like the week I thought it was going to be, and it's going to be nothing like the month I had last month. So it's I've just got to sort of do the best I can now. Tomorrow, Thursday, I've got my course in the afternoon, so I can't really go too far away from home. So yeah, it's going to be a bit poor week again. But hopefully today I'll get something out of it. It's just a question this week of doing bits and pieces to just make up, something rather than nothing. So rather than giving up and doing nothing for the week, which I did think about at the start of the week, I thought I should have the whole week off. But rather than doing that, I'm just going to plod on, do some bits and pieces, and just try to get back into the habit of doing these delivery jobs. So yeah, that's been my time up until now. It's not going to be an amazing day money wise. I might just also, the other option I've got is if I'm really struggling, I'll just call it quits and go see my mum. I've seen her for a while, so that might be a good thing for me to do. But I want to try and get a second job at least before I start doing that. Right, I'll let you know. Cheers. Hi YouTube, I am back. I've got myself a second job. It's now nearly 10 to 12. When I dropped off my load in what ended up being Walsall, I went to a very close by Morrison's, used the toilets, got myself a meal deal, sat in the van and looked for jobs. All of that took me in total about 20 minutes before I got offered a job. Now I'm on my way to Cannock to pick up a job going to Leamington-on-Spa. It's only a 43-mile journey loaded. It's a short wheelbase van job. I'm 13 miles away from the pickup. It's half an hour's drive away. So as I said, £50, 50, just get me on the move and rush up a bit more money. I'm glad to get this job so quickly, and I'll be, no further from home. And I'll hopefully be in a reasonable area to get my third job when I get to Leamington. I haven't used this company before. At this point in my CX career, when I come across a company for the first time, that in itself does make me feel a bit uneasy, because I will have met most reliable companies, although to be fair, I'm not often in the West Midlands, so this may well be a very reputable local company that I just don't ever come across usually. So I'm not going to judge anything at this point, but I did think, you just be careful about how it feels when you take this job. There was when I took the phone call, it was quite hard to hear what the guy was saying. He was in a busy office. The sound quality wasn't great, but he gave me the full postcode and said he'd put the job through in a few minutes. So I was happy to take it on that basis. I'm on my way there now. Right, I've just picked up my second load from Cannock, and I'm now going to be driving to Leamington-on-Spa. It's a single big manufactured item which is quite light, which the guy put on himself to my van, and it's going to be about an hour and a quarter journey, so I should be finished in the region of 2 o'clock. It's now nearly 12:30. This was a nice easy job to do, and I'm hoping that I'll get a third job somewhere towards home in Leamington. The reason why I'm having this video on is because the shipper from my first job gave me a call as I was arriving at this pickup, and just to check on how things had gone. And he did explain to me two things. First of all, he thanked me for being clear communication and doing the job, which is very much appreciated. But secondly, he explained what was confusing me about the addresses. Basically, the company I collected from today had manufactured the items I delivered to the second company. And the second company were then going to make them into finished product for the third company that's based in York. So that item, when it's made, needs to go to York by, I think it's 4 o'clock tomorrow. So obviously it's important to get these things delivered as quickly as possible. I'll let him out. So yeah, that explains why I had a different address on my paperwork compared to where I was going, which is nowhere near. But I'm glad I checked, and I'm even more so, I'm glad I was told the answer, because that sort of thing would just confuse me somewhat. And I was thinking, well, how can that happen? But obviously there was a reason. Obviously I'm nowhere near Wivenhoe or Walsall to pick up the load to go to York tomorrow, so it's not going to be part of my job. But it's all going as they would want it to go. So yeah, so happy days. I'm glad to be back on the road, and that explains what happened there. Right, cheers. Right, hi there YouTube. It has been almost an hour that I've been in Leamington Spa for, trying to find a job. And I've now got 2 bids, both going from Birmingham. One's going to Kings Lynn and one's going to Norwich. Unfortunately, I'm just off the A46 A road, and at this point I either have to go north or south to whichever job I get, if I get either. So I can't go any further moving forward closer to the jobs. They're both half an hour away. I'm both get there both in time for the pickup. I've put on bids that I'll be happy to do both jobs for, and I'm hoping to get one of them. I'm hoping that any moment now I'll have to stop this video to pick up a call to take a job. But in the meantime, while I haven't got that problem to deal with, I shall update you. There's a map that she'll put up now showing what it was like when I arrived at Leamington Spa. About 10 minutes after I took that screenshot, I was the only person in Warwick or Leamington Spa, apart from drivers sort of on the main roads, on the motorways driving past. And I thought I'd have a good chance of getting work, but there's just not been anything I can do. There was a Leamington Spa job, for example. Oh, here's a call. I'll let you know how it goes. I had a call for the one that I preferred, which was the one going from Birmingham B38, which is going to be, I'm away there now, I'm going to be there 35 minutes from now. And it's going to Norwich, 175 miles loaded for 2 pallets. I got that for £175. I prefer that one, although it's a much longer day for me. It's going to be the best part of an hour and 3/4 to get from Norwich back home. It means that I've made more than £300 gross for the day, which is amazing, really good. I'm chuffed with that. So I was on 140 before this, so I'm on 315 after this job. And although I'll be back sort of late, it'll be dark when I get back, it'll be late. That's exactly what I want. I'd rather do a longer job and get back later and get the money. So, excellent, really good day so far. I've just got to get to the pickup point before they close. They close at 3:30. I'm due to be there at 3:20. Providing there's no issues, that should be okay. And then I'm all sorted. I haven't got a job for the morning yet. I need to be a bit local for that, because I've got my course in the afternoon. But yeah, today's sorted now. So yeah, I'll update you with I'll update you with some stats when I've delivered in Norwich, unless I think of anything amazing that I can share with you in the meantime. Cheers. Right, quick update. I've just collected my last job of the day going to Norwich, and the reason I'm doing this video is because I've arrived on time. I arrived at 3:20. I'm off site now, having used the toilet on site. It's now 22:04, so that was all good. They're a bit slow loading me, but it's not an issue. And my miles on the CX app, when I got the job put through to me, was changed from 175 to 160, which I thought was really good. And the actual number of miles, according to Google Maps, I'm going to do is 164. So I'm getting just over £1 a mile for this job, for a short wheelbase van job. And the last point to note is I don't think this is genuinely a short wheelbase van job. It's €2 pallets, that's fair enough, they're fine. but the height, it only just fitted on my van. I've got a medium height Ford van, so it needed a higher height than I think most short wheelbase vans would be, but it didn't bother me in the end. There's about 10 centimetres spare, so I'm guessing about 1.5 metres high, maybe just over that. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe all short wheelbases have that height in their doors. But yeah, so it's all right for me, and in the end I'm happy with the price, happy with the job, happy with the load. So yeah, so no problems, and just get on with my job now. It's a 3-hour journey to get to Norwich, so I'm going to guess I'll be there after about 7. I will put my food on to heat up as I travel down to Norwich, and I shall do my video at the end for my stats for today on the way back. I've just delivered in Norwich 2 pallets. I arrived and was off site about 7 o'clock. I was off site, and I've done my stats calculations. Also, before I give you the stats, I'll tell you what I've done tonight, which I don't always talk about, but I thought I may as well just point it out. So during the daytime, I carry around inside my abdomen 2 litres of fluid for my dialysis treatment. And the idea is over the course of the day that will absorb some of the waste products, which then can be released, saving the kidneys doing their job. And at the end of the day, not too late in the day, I'm meant to get rid of that fluid. When I'm doing a day like today, I can't get home before the time I need to do that. So today I've done it just now at 7 o'clock. So I have with me now a box with some of the kit in it that I need. And if I'm out on the road and I need to connect up my drain bag, I can do that. The problem that I have with doing that is, let's say I need to get some fuel now, or I need to pick up a job or drop off a job. It's not really suitable for me to do anything out of my cab while I've got the drain bag attached to me. It gets quite full quite quickly, and I don't want to be carrying that around, and it's going to look a bit weird. So I can only really do the drain bag when I know I've got no other stops to make. And that's what the situation is like right now. I'm on my way back from Norwich. I've got an hour and 3/4 drive. Don't need to stop. I've got enough fuel to get home. Don't need to get any food because I've just had my home cooked meal. I had it on the way up, and it's filled me up. So I just need to let that do its thing now. And when I get close to home, I can sort of cap it off and take it into the house with me. And so the only other thing that I need to make you aware is I've got enough fuel to get home, but I have not got enough fuel to do tomorrow morning's job very comfortably. So I'll need to get some fuel in my van before I get home tonight, which I'll do when I get to the nearest station near to where I live. So that will just delay me by sort of 10 minutes going home. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now. So my stats for today are as follows. Based on an average fuel price of 13.62 pence per mile, today I've driven a total of 492 miles, 492. I will have worked, by the time I get home, 14 hours exactly. I have earned a gross amount from 3 CX jobs of £315, 315, and I spent on fuel £67.01, which means that today I've made a very good amount net of fuel of £248. And I've actually enjoyed today as well. I enjoyed it because I got that last job taking me well paid. Okay, I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.